Are you concerned about all this corruption being rebranded as conspiracy theory? Well, don't you worry. Sit back and relax and join in the conversation with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
Hello, welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks, for another LSB Film podcast. And this time we're doing something a little bit different. We've got my good old buddies, online buddies, Colin Gibbons and Larry Cyprus. This is just going to be a chilled, laid back, conversation where I'm pretty much going to be out of the room other than listening. I think it's only right when I have people like these two on who have so much knowledge. I think it's only fair that they need somebody else with a similar mindset for everyone to benefit, including you watching at home. So I've brought these two together because I just thought it would be a rather interesting conversation with a bit more depth than what I could offer. So I'm going to shut up now. You two, welcome to the show. Take it away.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, and thanks for having us back on.
My absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. So we started talking briefly before we hit record, and I think we want to quickly rewind and go back over that. So whoever started it before, because I can't remember, take it away.
Hi, folks. I was talking to Larry with regard his work on the geography and geology of the Earth and the shapes that are imprinted on the Earth, and that they are symbolic of what's going on in the heavens from a Hermetic astrological point of view, because there's a Hermetic saying which is sort of Pythagorean, and that is as above so below, as within so without, which reflects exactly what the human condition is upon the Earth within the third dimension, because we experience the God's Earth through the third dimension, through the vessel that is our body, but our mind is not within ourselves, it's without, and it's in the heavens. So therefore, that's why the Earth is a reflection of the heaven. My body is a reflection of my mind. Would you believe it? So I was just briefly talking with Larry there, saying that in his book, he's pointed out that France is a great big pentagram star, which is quite obvious when he notes it. I mean, I'd sort of seen that it was roughly sort of pentagonal, but I hadn't noticed it as a star. But that's Larry's ability and his observational skill. So armed with Larry's knowledge, I then further that on and I'll have a think about it. And then something else that Larry noted, that he'd been discussing starfalls and the possibilities of starfalls on the Earth, and he was suggesting that where he lives in Runcorn is the basis of a star fort, or what's left of one. There's star forts all over the Earth. Well, France is just therefore a bloody enormous star fort. It's absolutely huge. And we were talking about the geography and the geology of the land, and how the shape of a Tudor rose is that of a star fort. Well, Henry Tudor is of the tribe of Gad, if you look at the flag of Anglesey, because it has a chevron on it, and the chevron is a square, and the square is the angle of sorrow in astrology, whereas the angle of 60 degrees is the angle of happiness. So you get trines and sextiles, which are all good shapes. So a sextile star is the Star of David, which is what's used in the Zionist political entity of Zionism. Well, the thing with Zionism is that's the empire of the sun. So the sun is the son of God. So Zionism would be the empire of the son of God, but that's mindfulness rather than on earth. So if you're going to bring heaven onto earth, you've got to bring down that other angle and insert it into the pentagram, which is the five-pointed star of the star fort. So the star forts have to be altered, and the geometry of those angles has to change. So we've got to go to 60-degree geometry rather than 90-degree geometry, which is Euclidean, which we use to measure the four corners of the Earth. So there's quite a lot going on there. So Larry's work.
Larry.
No, Larry's absolutely cock on with his observations. All I'm saying is, to see between myself and Larry, I think if we pool our knowledge, and this is the first time I've actually spoken to Larry directly, other than emails, I think we could produce some pretty good work between us. Your work with understanding law and what law is, it's all linked to the Bible. Now, the Bible, as far as I'm concerned, is a book of Newtonian and quantum physics, which a lot of people get a bit of a paddywhack about. But also mentioned in the Bible is astrology. So I've read Larry's book and watched various ones of his videos, and he talks about Roman numerals being based on 10, and then the Babylonian system, which is based 60. So it's actually based on 12, but you see 60 is the lowest common denominator that 10 and 12 will divide into quite easily, you see. So you're back into number series. Numbers is the fourth book of the Bible. So numbers are important as the language of the universe and how the third dimension is constructed through angles, numbers, and orders of magnitude and interdimensionality. So when we're getting into law, we can have bits of paper, your body, your mind, and then your actual spirit. So you've got second, third, fourth, and fifth dimensional entities working as an interplay on the earth, because your body is the vessel that carries your soul. Your soul is the captain that stands on the bridge, which goes into my work with the architecture of the brain. And I would suggest the earth itself is a brain. And there you go. So see what Larry has to say about that.
Come and interject, Larry.
Yeah. No, he is quite right. I have looked at the Earth as being a brain, or the tree of life. If you got a globe, now this is going to upset some people because a flat Earth only exists on paper. So the four corners of the Earth are the four corners of the pieces of paper of the map. You can only exist on a flat Earth if you are your fictional. Got the word now.
Fictional incarnation, isn't it?
The legal fiction. Legal fiction. You only exist on a piece of paper. You are the piece of paper. So you have four corners. You operate within the four corners of a legal fiction, because legal fiction is based upon paper. The flat Earth is based upon a flat map. And so you're inside their legal fiction of the flat Earth. But if you actually look at it as a three-dimensional globe, and you removed all the sea, and I want to do this. I so want to do this. I've got a globe downstairs, and I just want to cut all the sea out of it, because what you're left with looks like a tree or a brain, which is interesting. Then, which goes back to my observation of the Isle of Man, which is the image of God on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. You do reference that. I did point out that France was a pentagram. Now, I started that with a pentagon. So the corners of the pentagram, if they're inside a pentagon, those corners, the edges of each of those of the pentagon is 600 kilometers. But if you actually measure it down into the pentagram, each one of the lines is 333 kilometers, which means from point to point, if you travel around the coast, it's 666 kilometers, which gets really, really, people get freaky.
There's the number.
There's the number indeed. But you shouldn't fear the number. The number is part of the sacred geometry. So
it's a positive angel number.
It's definitely a positive
number. Are symbolic. Numbers are nothing more than symbology, which
Absolutely.
is work I've been doing, which is Borromean rings. Now, if you understand Borromean rings, they describe three-dimensional space. So there's the Borromean rings again, and here is the three planes of existence within the third-dimensional space within a tetrahedron, which has got 20 sides.
So that symbol,
double X.
That symbol's used when they're talking about nuclear science as well, aren't they? They talk about the. It's an expression of the atom as well.
You ever come across that? Can you read that?
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah. So there you go. You've got reality, imagination, and symbology, and if you're centered, you're right in the middle.
Yeah.
So there's your Borromean rings in a different plane. So you've got to understand how all this is working. And I would suggest that what's happening at the moment, that knot is being cut because that's part of the prime knot series, which is also on the Celtic crosses, which is the Venturis through the dipole electron flood theory that I've been talking about, which is the manifestation of light on Earth. So I've got quite a few good quotes here, which might go in with what we're talking about. You were talking about a brain. A Mark Twain quote, very interesting man. Cauliflower is nothing more than cabbage with a college education, right? What does your brain look like? It looks like the surface of cauliflower. Now, if you get a Romanesque cauliflower, that is Fibonacci, and it looks like lots of little pine cones, and you're back to pineal gland and brain. So it's very interesting the way that the golden ratio of the pentagram star of the star fort that is France underneath the magical kingdom of Britain, because it's not England and it's not Scotland and it's not Wales, it is Britain, is pointed at by this isosceles triangle that's pointing down.
Now, just explain this isosceles triangle, how you're drawing that, because we haven't mentioned that on the recording yet.
Right. Well, there's three churches in Britain or in England, and one of them is Ormskirk, which is where I was born, St. Peter, St. Paul. There's one directly east of there in Lincolnshire. Can't remember the name of the village. I'd have to look it up. Like I said, my head's full of monkey business. And then there's one down in Dorset, which is the head of the unicorn, which is the Lincolnshire church. Where would that be? Which star sign would that be?
Lincolnshire is on Aries. It's on sort of like the arm, the shoulder of Aries.
Yeah, well, that's sort of interesting because the pointing down to France, sort of between Calais and the Cherbourg Peninsula through Dorset. If you
I'd have to look at that in a bit more detail because presumably it's going to point to the centre of the pentagram.
It may well do. It may well do. But I find it interesting in that, as I alluded to in Chris's last video, I was talking about looking at the architecture of the brain, pineal gland, the epithalamus, and the etymology of the root word epi is epiphany, which is the appearance of Christ on earth. Well, that's what your body is. Your body is carrying the Christ conscious through the third dimensional realm for your devilish experience, because the earth is the devil's playground. And
is that the same epi as in epidural?
Possibly so. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind, because it's removing the inserted into the spine, and it paralyzes the lower root chakra, doesn't it? So you don't feel the pain of giving birth, if you're a woman, that is.
And there are lots of people
or a trans man.
Yeah, let's not go there.
That's just crazy nonsense that's made up by the woke brigade. And you've got to understand, woke is the past participle of wake, and a wake is a party at the end of a funeral, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Where you remember the dead. So all these woke people are remembering that the dead. Good for them. I'm alive. Bollocks to them. They're just stupid people.
And we're off.
They need to expand their minds and follow their own paths, rather than just saying, oh, well, the government says. Well, government is nothing more than mind control. Govere, Latin. You know,
sheeple is such a perfect terminology, really, isn't it? I can't think of anything better other than dumb.
Buy yourself one of these, folks.
A Latin dictionary. That's not bad, Kim.
Absolutely.
And I named it after you.
I need one of them, definitely.
And the Latin word publicare is a verb, and it means to steal. Right? Public, to steal. We've been stolen from because they're treating us as public. We need to get back into the private. It's ours. It doesn't belong to them. They are in the public. They are the administrators. They administer our wealth. It's our administration that is criminal.
And of course, all property is theft.
How do you see us getting back to that point then? How do you see us can you see us being ever able to do away with what we've got?
I think people fear, what's the word I'm looking for, Colin? The
authority?
No, the
unknown.
Yeah, the unknown, but that's due to lack of education.
Self-governing. What's the self-governing bit? The not fascism, not fascism. I can't think of the word now. I'll think of it.
Communist.
No. It's anarchy. Anarchy. They fear anarchy.
Yeah, they do fear anarchy. Yeah,
and they
anarchy is good in its true form. It just means not to be governed.
Yeah. Well, again,
if you look at the etymology of the word, anarchy.
Sorry, go ahead,
need
Larry.
To return to anarchy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the word anarchy, if you look at the etymology of anarchy, an means without, and an arcus is arch. So you're without arch. Well, where's the arch? The arch is the dome. The dome is the top of your head, right? That's it. So you are under the dome. Yeah. So all these people who don't understand firmament on flat Earth, you see, flat Earth and globe Earth are matters of perspective from my point of view. So here we go. Here's a £20 note, right? On this side, we have the Queen. I mean, these days it's Charlie Boy the King. And here you have a gold hologram. And it's a hologram because it's not real. It's a symbolic of the gold. Now, gold is aurum. Aurum is your aura. Your aura is your chakra system. Yeah, you turn that round. So Charlie Boy, or it's the Queen on this particular piece of paper. You see, it's flat, it's representative, and it's got four corners, blah, de, blah, de, blah. But you turn it round, the hologram is now silver. Turner was a creative man. He painted pictures, mainly of the sky, interestingly. Now,
no chemtrails then.
The silver hologram, there's the real silver, right? If that's a silver, if that's a golden hologram, there's the real gold. Now, on the back of these coins, if you look, St. George on the dragon, tribe of Gad, angle of sorrow.
Is that an actual gold coin then, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's a real one.
Okay, that's sovereign, that one.
Nice.
And that's a proper silver one. When's that from? Oh, I can't remember. Bloody long time ago.
Where was it found? In the chimney?
1892, that one. There you go.
Oh, it just looks dark because of the picture.
No, it's tarnished, that's all. Now, if you get back into your etymologies, you get back into your Latin, again, buy yourself one of these, folks, find out what words really mean. The Roman administration is the administration that writes and records everything down. So that is a record of me doing something, right? So that's my gold. That's a third dimensional representation of who I am. That is also a third dimensional representation of what I exchanged. So argent means to shine, and argentum is silver. So if your aura shines, you're worth something. So if you think about it, are you a dull person? I'm certainly not.
I have my moments.
Oh, Kristofer, it's not that bad. Yeah, so this is what you've got to get into the understanding of who we are. Now, in the House of Commons, behind the Speaker stands the remembrancer. Now, why do they have a remembrancer in the House of Commons? Is it because none of them know who they really are? They're all arguing and fighting like criminals, which is what they are, which is why they're in the Commons, because they're common criminals. So when you claim public title, you're claiming that you're a common criminal, which is what the police do. They force you to claim title.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're going with this.
So you would be. What was your profession? You're a plumber or carpenter, did you say?
Hell no. I'm an autodidactic polymath, Kristofer.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Self-evident. Autodidactic is self-evident.
Self-evident or self-taught. Polymath.
Well, I just think that you would be. You've kind of got the persona where you'd be a bit like a what's his name, thingy Carlin.
George Carlin.
Yeah, where you could add the humor and dry wit into giving what you give.
Is that a skill?
Information.
If that's a skill, I'm very skilled.
when I'm on form, I'm quite funny, but when I'm not, I'm a miserable git. But such is life. No, polymath is many. Poly is many, as in Greek, and math is a discipline. So I'm self-taught in many disciplines.
Jack
You
of
see,
all
I paid
trades.
no attention at school because the whole point
Me
of
neither.
school is to tell you what you don't need to know.
Absolutely.
So children are full of imagination, full of life, full of creative energy. You look at you look at children. You give them a toy, they play it with a box, right? I know what the toy is. That's boring, rubbish. What can I make with the box, right? They don't want to be handed a toy. They want to be handed the materials to create the toy. They are creators in themselves. So what do we do with them? The
Force
filth
them to
that is
sit
the
still for
Roman
8
bloody
hours.
system takes them, makes them stand in bloody rows, sit in rows, sit still, be quiet, do not look out of the window, and watch what we're telling you to do. That's it. It's about obedience and doing nothing else. So they're training you to be the administrators. Well, why they're training them to be Romans? The Romans are training them to be Romans. Now, you might notice a lot of schools have been called academies recently. Well, that's a Greek word. An academician. I'm an academician. I'm in the academy of life. I'll look at anything and consider it. That's called philosophy. Philosophy is nothing more than thinking about shit. That's all I've ever done all my life. What am I thinking about today? Thinking about talking to Larry and Chris. Although I'm doing most of the talking at the moment. Come on, Larry, give us
It's all good stuff, Colin. It's
Yeah,
you're
don't worry,
on
mate.
today.
When it comes too much, I'll just mute you. There you go.
That's never been done before.
Oh, that hasn't.
No,
2020.
so
Put the mask on. 2020. Mute everybody.
But yeah, more symbology.
I could mute myself as a Roman if you like.
I'll probably get a copyright strike now.
Oh, bollocks to him. Well, in that case, we'll get back to symbology. Here's another one. There's the half moons of the patricians. More symbology.
Are they half moons or are they the rings of Saturn? Like the Nike symbol? Because
Half moons.
Saturn used to be in a different position. It used to be
It did.
omnipresent above the North Pole. And then you have Mars and Venus coming in between them, which creates the eye of God. And the eye of God was omnipresent above the North Pole. And this is, and there's a lot of, if you start looking at population, 90% of the population lives north of the equator. Two-thirds of the land is north of the equator.
Yeah.
And I mean, when it comes to things like, the Pangeas, is it? The plate tectonics, and they're saying how it's all moved around. And I'm going, well, if it all moved around and we're on a spinning ball, why isn't it all around the equator?
Plus, the other thing you've got to be mindful of these globe things is that I've seen videos where they've proven, I think it was even like Oprah Winfrey fucking years ago, about where like America, all the wealthy countries, they've emphasized as big.
Yeah.
So Greenland is actually a lot bigger or a lot smaller than what they make out it to be, and things like that.
Yeah, if you actually take a flat Earth map, say the emblem of the UN, where everyone cites that as being the true Earth on the flat Earth. If you actually take that and you put, so Brazil is the head, America is the chest, it goes round and it's actually Gaia, or Nut in the Egyptian. It's Mother Earth, and she's actually sat in a lotus position. So Africa becomes her legs. And she's just actually given birth then to Australia. Australia is actually a fetus. And then so you've got the umbilical cord coming out of China down sort of through Bali and that area. It's that one's really, that's the next one that will really blow your mind. That actually Gaia is, Mother Earth was a living being. And she's there.
Well, it has to
be.
What
about this theory about the moon?
All things have sentience.
What about this theory about the moon? That it hasn't always been there. That's a relatively new thing, and it shouldn't really be there.
They've all moved, but it is a physical 3-dimensional thing.
So it's not a
but
satellite.
It's our satellite. It's actually magnetic as well, and that's proven because we only ever see one side of it. It's always facing us, and the only way that can do is if it's actually held in position. And so the only one.
Yeah, but surely that's the same with everything. Like for thousands of years, we've seen the same star constellations, yet we're supposed to be going around thousands.
They do move. They move. They're very, very slow at moving. You really, the person you need to talk to that about is well, I would turn to Hugh Evans. Now, Hugh Evans has done some fantastic work on the origins of the zodiac, the origins of numbers, and he's done the origin of time as well. 3 fantastic books, and I can't promote him enough. Really, he's really fantastic on that.
I would say on the dimension of time, time is nothing more than conscious displacement. There's no space, there's no time, there is only conscious displacement. So if you can displace your conscious, you can manipulate time. So therefore, time travel is possible, but it's not possible if you're locked into the 3rd dimension. You've got to move up a dimension. So whenever you're talking about Trump and his 3 and 5 and 4D chess and all this, that's actually what they're describing is time travel, from my point of view. But that's possibly a bit out of the bounds of the scope of this particular discussion. But yeah,
I'd like to just leave that one for another day.
Perhaps so, yeah. Because I think the trouble with me is most people look at me as I'm a completely bonkers nutcase talking absolute shite, which is maybe true in part. But I'll go back to Schopenhauer, which is
do it very convinced. You do it very convincingly.
Saturday. Right. Going back to Saturn. If you get into heraldry, which is what the angels use to signify who they are, and signify and sigil and signature and sign and sin are all the same thing because it's about joining conscious with a physical item. The colour black in heraldry is known as sable. Its heavenly body is Saturn. The jewel is diamond, and its virtue is consistency or prudence. The flower is nightshade. Well, that all points to moon. So the Saturnalians are in charge of the moon.
Do you want to come, Larry? I can see you're looking a bit. Do you want to come in?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no, I didn't see. Right. So you have to maybe describe moon to me. If you're saying that that's points to the moon and not Saturn.
I would suggest that the moon is a failed sun. Because the sun and the moon appear the same size in the sky. And this is where you've got to get away from, it's 93 million. How do you know that that's true? Can you measure it? Because I don't know how to go about measuring it. But if you alter your perspective and say, well, if we're a 3rd dimensional vessel on the flat Earth, because everything looks flat from the 3rd dimensional perspective, because we've discussed this before. I'm looking at you on the computer screen. That's a flat image, but I know there's depth behind you. Same as looking in a mirror, right? So if you're on the Earth, everything revolves around us, right? So that's a geocentric view, and we have a geocentric view while standing on Earth. You can only have a heliocentric view if, and only if, you stood on the sun. Now, people you're laughing at that because you understand what I've said. Yeah. Because your mind is expansive enough to understand what I'm talking about. But most people, the minds are so fucking closed, it's not even funny. Because, the Earth's round. How do you know? Because NASA say so. Well, let's have a look at the Hebrew word NASA. Does it mean not a straight answer? Or does it mean to tell lies? Possibly. Go and look it up, folks. Don't take my word for it. Go and find out. But who's to say the dictionaries are true? They might be, they might not be. So we're
it depends what dictionary
you refer
to. The Latin one's good, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
especially
we're always
Collins.
on a shift in time. But the thing is, you've got to actually then have a consensus. So if we have a consensus that the dictionaries are correct, then you've got to stick to the actual definition. But it doesn't mean that they're correct when they were written. But by consensus, they therefore become correct through consensus, which is an interesting concept in and of itself.
But that's we do policing and everything, isn't it? It's all by consent.
It is. Everything's by consent.
It's all contractual.
But whose consent is it? Who owns you? Who owns the Earth? Who owns bits of paper? Who owns that?
Right? Who has the right to
No.
say that you live or die?
Well, I do. For me, you don't. So you can't be violent towards me and you can't kill me. And I can't do the same to you, which gets you back
Absolutely.
into law. Whereas if you think about it, you're into ab ordo chao, which is the Latin phrase of from chaos comes order. But that works both ways. If you look at the way the world is at the moment, they're trying to enforce order onto every aspect of absolutely every last detail. It's going to fail. It can't not do.
Micromanagement.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
work.
this happens
It
at the
doesn't
end of
work.
every civilization. And apparently so does this obsession with gender.
Possibly
Even,
so.
even in the
Yeah.
Roman times, they had this,
Yeah.
before it all went tits up, they had this whole gender issue.
There is one thing I do want to say on that, on gender.
Mhm.
No man has ever said he comes from a long line of gay men.
No.
You've got to be born of woman. Yeah.
Unless you're
With the previous
Jesus,
man.
of course.
Well, no, he's born of woman, but his father's in heaven, as was Tammuz, as was Horus. They all have a heavenly father, and they're all a virgin birth, and they're
All born on
Yeah.
the same day.
yeah. So I mean, realistically,
Incredible coincidence.
when I look at the Bible, I don't see a 2,000-year-old book. I see it's at least 24,000, if not 240,000-year-old story that's in there. Jesus is the Son of God. He is the light of the earth. He is the SUN, the Son. You know, all these phrases, they're telling you. And so
how do we then get Lucifer the light bearer?
Maybe we'll go to
Well, that's
Colin on that.
Aquarius pouring his light of the sun onto the earth. You've got to understand what sun and earth is, you see, because man is made in the image of God. Well, what does God look like? So what do you look like as a man, Chris?
Don't know. I'm yet to
And then
find
you're getting
out.
into the confusion of polarity, because you have to have polarity in a three-dimensional universe. So which sun is it? Because the Greek word helios is the Greek word for sun, and helium is the sun. That's where you get helium from. So the atom helium is 2, isn't it?
Right, yep.
So that makes the moon a failed sun, because you've got 2 suns revolving around the earth. One is the mother, one is the father. It's got to be. So, yeah,
Not
you're
quite
struggling with
getting
that one.
Your
I'm
pituitary
not
gland and your
quite
pineal
buying
gland
that one.
is your Mary and
Well,
Joseph.
Talking about polarity, you've got light coming off the sun in the sky, and where does that light go to as
Everywhere.
it passes through? Pardon?
It goes everywhere. But
It's
it has
everywhere.
to, yeah.
But
But it has to travel
it
through an
must flow
atmosphere.
to a pole. It can't just go everywhere. It
So
radiates out. Where does
can
it
I
end
just
up?
talk about light just really quickly, because I've always had this. If the sun's in the sky and it's really bright and it's really, why isn't space light? Why is it dark? But then somebody said because it's got nothing to reflect off of, and so
Exactly.
light needs something to hit for it to, and that's why
reflect,
we
illuminate.
have the light, but space doesn't, because there's nothing in
Chris,
between.
turn around and look at your guitar picture. What is the white light hitting?
The sun, I guess, hitting the
Turn
prism.
around and look at your picture
I can
behind
see
you.
it. I can see it. There, look.
Yeah, right. So
It hits the prism on the
the
original.
white light
The dome.
hits the black guitar and splits into colours, and it's black because it's black body, as in Boltzmann's black body radiation theorem.
No, that's because I
Only
designed that.
Anyway, yeah, but only black bodies reflect light.
Okay.
Sorry, radiate light. White bodies reflect it or refract it.
Which is why a hot car and stuff as well always gets a black car, sorry, always gets hotter.
So you're back to carbon, and carbon is black, and sable is black, and sable is the colour of Saturn, and Saturnalian control, and it's the control under the moon, which is all this sort of business, night shade, the shade of the night. So you're running from black to white, and white to black, and you go from white to black through the colour sequences. So if you're going to run from black to white or white to black, well, if you're running from black to white, you go red, orange, yellow up to purple, and then you go invisible to white light. Yeah. And then if you're at white, you go the other way. Now, everybody knows that if you make a rainbow from sunlight, the red is at the top, the purple's at the bottom. But how many people know that if you split moonlight, the prism goes the other way? Moonlight cools things down. How does that happen?
Moon does have its own light, doesn't it? And it's cold. They say
Yeah.
that the light is reflected off the sun when they've actually measured the temperature of the moonlight, and it's colder in moonlight than it is out of moonlight.
It
So how is
flows
that
from
sun
one sun.
reflective?
It flows from one sun to the other sun. I don't think the moon's a satellite. I think the moon is a pole of a battery
I would have
in the
to
third
disagree on that
dimension.
one. I would disagree on that one. If you do say the spectrum splits the other way round from reflection of the moon, then is that because the reflection is a mirror?
Well, which way are you traveling? Which way are you traveling?
Yeah, but your black is basically no light. Your white is full light, and then it splits into the spectrum. That's the way I see it. So we can agree to disagree for the moment. We'll have further discussions on that.
What about white is the absence of colour and black is the saturation of colour? Because there's different ways. I know it's a philosophical point, but there you go.
Is it not the other way around?
We're talking about shit. Pardon?
Absolutely. The discussion is what's needed. But I see the other way around.
But you see, if a black body's radiating light, and then the light's wavelength slows down enough, it becomes solid. And that's what your body is. That's what I'm saying. And then you're getting into the light of Lucifer. So the light of Lucifer is poured from heaven. So he cast his angels. God cast the sinful angels, the angels that joined sinful, out of heaven with the light of Lucifer, which is Aquarius. So your light pours down from the heavens, right, which is your mind, the mind of God, and it solidifies into what you see as a body.
Okay.
And you're rooted on the earth. Your mother is the earth.
Absolutely, I would go with that one. Definitely agree with that. Yeah. That sentence I agree with, yeah.
Now, if you then look at Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, that's the amalgamation of the two runes, elk sedge, which is protection and divine guidance, and calc, which is ulceration and death. Now you'll recognize these two runes they're the C and D runes. C and D symbol is the rune calc, which is death, and they've inverted it on the Anglo-Saxon.
So which one's the death one, and which one's
death one is a line. It's like an upside down line with a Y in the middle, which is the Vitruvian Man with his legs together and his legs apart. Yeah, so that's the trunk of the body from the neck down, and his two legs splitting, which roots him to the earth, because you are rooted to the earth as a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're getting to Odin in a minute. And then calc is from the head upwards, and his arms going like that, you see, because one of them, his arms are horizontal, and that's on the square of the flat earth. And then the other one, the branches going up, is elk, which is also the tribe of Naphtali, which is the symbol of the stag or symbol of Scotland, the brain. And that is going up into the sphere of heaven. So again, you're into interdimensionality. The Earth only appears as a sphere when and only when you're in space, but you can't get into space because you're rooted to the Earth, unless, of course, you've got a spaceship. Or if you watch the film Dune, you use a fourth grade guild navigator. Why is he a fourth stage guild navigator? Because he's in a different dimension to you. He's not third dimension, he's a guild navigator, and he is in the fourth dimension. So there's a clue in the film Dune, which is a very interesting book.
Going back to your Leonardo's Man, is that then also the same symbol that's on the Union flag?
Very possibly. I've not thought of that, but I would suggest you're the correct. And that is basically it's I suppose if you think of the two runes being pushed together, rather than the tree trunk, it's centering in on itself.
And then it's just been stolen by the government to make it a double cross.
Yeah, yeah.
The government double cross us all the time.
But then there's me a bit of paper gone. I'm looking for bits of paper again. There you go. That's about chirality and symmetry, this symbol here. Well, if you looked at that from the top, what would
It's
it look
a
like?
Nazi stroke peace sign.
Is it? Ah, well, that'll be the Tula Gazelle shaft, wouldn't it? And what's this one? Society of the Black Sun. So it's Tula Gazelle shaft, Society of the Black Sun.
Which is also then the Wheel of Heaven.
It is the Wheel of Heaven, which is, let's have a look. Where's it going? Oh, look. Star Wars First Order. The Galactic Empire. Where's that one there? Now, if you look at that.
Looks a little bit like a ship's wheel as well.
It does, but that will look like, blinking out more paper. Bloody hell.
There is some order to his madness somewhere.
There's loads of it, but like I say, I can't bloody find it. I can't find anything. Oh, yeah, it's over here, that's why. It's that one. That's what that is. That's the third dimension of that. If you look at it from that perspective, that's that one.
Is that the South Pole of Saturn as well?
Yeah. There's your cubes. Yep. Well, in the middle of this one, you'll see, I know it's a bit rounded, but that's...
That's three-dimensional. Yeah.
So what's the Satan stroke Saturn link then? Because the black cube is also a satanic link, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They say that those that worship the cube is...
I would suggest people get very hung up on Satan. Oh, Satan's bad. Oh, we're in the third dimension, right? Look, everything's got form. Size matters, right? Top to bottom, diameter, in, out, right? This cup's apparently full. It's full of air. You know,
never empty.
It's not. You can't create or destroy. All you can do is produce. And there's a difference between production and creativity. Creativity means it has to appear out of nothing. And we can't do that on this earth. But you can take something that does exist and transform it into something that does. I mean, originally that was basically glorified mud called clay, and they molded it and shaped it and buggered about with it, put it in a kiln, fired it, and it's become a cup. Yeah. They've even vitrified it with glass. Vitrified Vitruvian Man. Glass. What's glass? Silica dioxide. If you irradiate silica dioxide, what do you get? You get amethyst.
Isn't glass made from sand?
Yeah. Shall we have a look at our blooming tinctures again? Where's tinctures gone? Purple. Class, colour. Right, okay, right. Shoot back and go over the page. Heavenly body's Mercury, which is communication. The jewel's amethyst, and its virtue's temperance. But irradiated silica dioxide is amethyst. That's what you're dealing with. So we entered the nuclear age. So the Vitruvian Man that's made of glass has been given temperance.
I was just going to say about your clay. Bone China, clue in the name.
China.
It's from the bones of the giants that they're mining.
Yep. Absolutely.
There's lots of them around. You can see them all over the place. And I am going to do some videos on the things. But if you want to look into it, if you want to see the raw information, Sally Jane Delaney on the Geobiology channel. She's on TikTok, she's on YouTube, she's on all over. But she looks at the actual images. Also, Gail, I can forget her name now. She has, if you Google Grail, with the R, Grail, Smith. You'll find some of her work. She finds the patterns in the landscape as well. It's very similar to what Sally does. Sally's convinced that everything is biology. I think a lot of what she looks at is biology. Some of it, I would say, is artwork. I mean, the fantastic one, if you can find it, is Banbury Cross. Why'd you go to Banbury Cross? To see a fine lady upon a white horse. Now, if you turn the map upside down, if you do it on Google Earth and then put the time lapse on for the different images, the image of the horse and the lady on it will appear in front of your eyes. It's absolutely fantastic. And St George's, Canterbury, you can actually see him is spearing the dragon at There's a quarry just north of Canterbury. That's his head. They're mining his head, and they do it all over the place. Now, that one, I would say, George is definitely biology because they're mining him.
What are they mining? Do you know?
Well, whatever it is they mine, they've been doing it for centuries. They know what's there, you know. But they're basically mining his brain out. They're taking his brain out. So I don't know what significance this actually has. I've not figured that one out really. But then I'm not a chemist and I'm not a biologist, and so it needs looking at certainly. But lots of mines, if you go and look, open cast mines are basically they're mining the body of the giants, and they're all there. They're fantastic. I mean, I love Ben Nevis one because Ben Nevis is on his chin. That's the hill. Yeah. And then you can see he's got his front teeth are missing, and then he's got his top lip, and then you can see his nose and his eyes, and he's from there to there is 15 kilometers, about 10 miles, 16 kilometers, 10 miles, which makes him stand then at 60 miles tall. So they're big giants. And then, like I say, then the rest of the earth. So the British Isles, I say, by the outline itself is man-made by design. But then everything on top of it is sort of like biology and sort of position there. And you can.
So man-made by who? Because that's a rather large task, isn't it?
Bear with
Depends
me.
how big you are.
Bear with me a second. Let me see if I can get this right.
Because you know, you often look at these other things as well, like these big mountains that look like petrified tree stumps.
Oh, Mount Go, kind of things. Mount Go in Spain is fantastic because that's if you Stellium 7, he does the introduction of a Titan, which shows that Mount Go is actually an elephant. So here we go. Who got England, British Isles here, the design, and then in the sea behind my head we have the Pharaoh. And on his hat, he's got the Faroe Islands on his crown.
Can I just ask you a question? Where's Rockall on that map?
It's
because it'll be in the middle of that giant skull.
No, Rockall's there. It's on his chest.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sort of like a brooch.
Because Rockall's just a stack sticking out of the sea.
Yeah.
What the hell is that
could
about?
Almost be it could have been his fatal wound, couldn't it?
Possibly.
It could be a spear
because
broken.
That's claimed as a British protectorate, and there was hell on over that, and that's partly what the Cod Wars with Iceland was about.
Yeah.
So there's some significance to Rockall.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's also used as a euphemism for having nothing, isn't it? What have you got, Rockall?
Rockall.
Right?
I've never heard that. I've never heard that version.
I've heard a northern one. I think that's northern Rockall.
Yeah. Northern,
okay. I've
different culture,
learned
Chris.
Something. I've learned something. Yeah, I'm cultured a bit more. Hey.
At least a bit of rhyming slang with something all, but there's something going on. There's something going on with Rockall. Now, interestingly, I've been binge watching Star Wars recently because there's shitloads of symbolism in that. And in what's it called? Rogue One, they go to some records department, and it's in a big sort of black pillar sticking out the sea. And I thought, fuck me, that's Rockall.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So that's
Rockall.
I'm
not being funny.
I'm just trying to figure this out. So that skeleton in the sea, yeah, is that
Mhm.
supposed to be of actual size compared to
Oh,
the?
that's actual size. That's
So you're
everything there
telling me
is.
then, if the world as we know it, whether you believe it to be global flat, if the world as we know it, you'd only be able to get about 50 giants on the planet, and you'd be like this.
Yeah, but they're not from here.
So
The-
this is literally like them just coming down to like the sand pit with the
right.
pond, and they're just playing.
So if you think
Chris,
the rest of the world is Gaia. So that's a single entity from you go from like Argentina all the way up through America and then back round down to Africa. It's a single entity. It's far too big to have come from this planet. This one is then like your Nephilim. Nephilim have come down from somewhere else. So yeah, and then we're just created from the Nephilim, aren't we? In the image of the Nephilim.
So we are literally just like the little ant farm.
Yeah.
there's a
Well,
very
that's
interesting
reassuring, isn't it?
there's a very interesting Duke of Edinburgh quote. Mankind are just like maggots on a piece of meat, or
That's
words to
literally
that
what we
effect,
are. Yeah,
which is
we're
what we are.
feeding off Gaia or
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. Back to Dune, another good book, right?
Is
Princess
that based on the
Irulan.
film, or is
No,
the
the
Yeah.
film
film's
based
based
on
on the
that
book.
rather
Now the
than?
film's based on the book, Christopher.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Anyway, yeah. Princess Irulan quote: "Deep in the human unconscious is a pervasive need for a logical universe that makes sense, but in the real universe is always one step beyond logic." Well, what are we dealing with right now? There's a bloody big skeleton at the bottom of the West Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, that's beyond logic. You can't get your head around that. I'm struggling, to be quite honest, and I'm sure Larry's not that far beyond where I am. But if that's the fact, that's beyond the logic that you've been brought up in, which goes right back to the beginning of this podcast where I said the whole point of school is to beat the shit out of your imagination so you accept their version of events. Because if you understood the true nature of the realm, not the universe, the realm that you're in, it would blow your mind. And that's the problem that we're dealing with. So they've invented the term conspiracy theory to shut people up, right? It's not a conspiracy, it's a coincidence, right? Look at the
What's that
Star
like?
Wars. Look at the Star Wars logos, right? As far as I'm concerned, and I can just show it now, that one there is the Celtic cross. That one there shows three-dimensional space, which is the same as the Borromean knot, right? The Borromean knot locks you in the third dimension. That's what we're dealing with. And that's how they beat us in law. They've locked us into the third dimension. That is the Borromean knot. That's the Borromean knot. That it's all there. It's all there.
Yeah, and
It's all
like
there.
I say, all my videos, I say it in every one of them. You know, I make my videos to change the way you think because everything you have been taught is designed to stop you from thinking critically and accept all their lies basically as truth without question. And that's all education is there for. It's to
Indoctrinate.
it's to reprogram you. It's to stop you from using your natural abilities to think and reason.
Absolutely correct. Couldn't agree with you more. I realised a very, very long time ago that you'd watch the news, and I thought if I turn this upside down, inside out, and backwards, I'm halfway to what the actuality of what they're telling me is. And I also realised every now and again there'd be a news story, and it'd be really odd, unusual news story. And you think, what the bloody hell's that about? And it'd stick in my mind. And it wasn't on every newscast like for the next week. It'd be on one newscast. And that was it. If you missed it,
Just enough to
you
plant
missed
the
it.
seed.
But it was like, what the hell's that about? What is that about? That little nugget of information, you retain it. And then years later, something else would pop out. And you think, those two events are connected. I know they're connected, but I can't even explain to myself why. But deep down, I have an inner knowing that those two events that were mentioned on the news are connected. And again, if you get back to what Larry said and my thesis of upside down, inside out, and backwards, that's what they're talking about. That's leading you to the truth. If you engage your critical thinking, if you open your mind and accept stuff that's nonsense, such as a fucking enormous skeleton at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, then and only then will you begin to understand the enormity of the madness that is the realm that we inhabit, right? Which is back to Schopenhauer, the recognition of madness, even in oneself, is a true path to sanity. So if you want sane, believable understanding of the realm, you have to let go of all forms of order and enter into the chaos. Look at me, that's chaos, right?
I feel
I'm
like
chaos.
I feel like I'm on that journey because my
Oh
whole
yeah,
life feels like it's getting more chaotic, but my own internal life as opposed to my external life,
well,
which is strange.
interestingly, I I have I've embraced the chaos, and you can work as a chaos magician, which sounds a bit arty farty, but it's the best way I can put it. And if you engage in chaos, you can be extraordinarily productive. You can create and design and do anything you want. Where did that come from? Where's your ideas coming from? How are you developing your ideas? What is all this about? Why I'm on this podcast? Because I've got something to say I'm an interest in, right? My aura, my golden aura, right, is shining silver bright because it's projecting, right? But what they're doing is they're saying, oh no, you're not part of the greater part of the mind of God through a fractal universe, through different layers and orders of magnitude and dimensionality, interdimensionality. You're just a piece of meat that walks round and does what we tell you. Well, where are they getting their bloody information from to tell you what to do? Who the
Because
fuck are
that's
these
what they've been
people?
programmed with.
Yeah, but they're all meat robots, right? My body is a meat robot, but it takes my instruction. It doesn't take anybody else's instruction. And my meat robot can do what the bloody hell it wants, so long as it doesn't impinge on anybody else. And that's all that matters. So, again, back with architectures of brains, I am the captain standing on the bridge of my vessel. The bridge is the pons, it's the top of the spinal column. 33 joints up the spine into the last one, number 34, which is the 13th unlucky number for some, the 13th Fibonacci number. You're stood on the bridge. The devil is behind you. Sigil of Lucifer, the two eyes, right? The criminals who steal the light, and the light of God going into the pineal gland through the South Pole. Which if you look at the map of Gemini in is Southport, and I was born in the epithalamus, Ormskirk, and I lived at St John's, which is now known as Burscough.
And
St
I was
John's
born on
Priory,
St. John's.
yeah, but St John's Priory, St John's Parish is Burscough Parish, but Burscough Priory was the Priory of St Nicholas, where St Nick is old Nick, he's the devil,
And Father
Satan,
Christmas.
And I was going to say, and
and
Father
Father
Christmas,
Christmas, yeah.
both
But then
depicted in red,
you get
both go for the
you,
kids.
yeah, well, let's have a look at red, because if you look in the House of Lords, they all wear red robes trimmed with white ermine, which is the winter coat of the
They have
Stoat.
red seats, don't they? And Commons have green seats, and the Lords have the red seats, don't they? Yeah.
Well, they're actually maroon. That's a tint. That's a stain. That's a stain, because if you get on Wikipedia and look at the colours, you've got metals, colours, and stains are generally orange, brown, or maroon. Well, theirs is maroon. So Satan, Santa, which is an anagram, the House of Lords, the dress that they wear, the big red cloak with the white sleeves. So they're all Satan in Satan's temple. They've entered the temple and they sit on the red. Now, if you look at red here, it's heavenly bodies Mars. Its jewel is the ruby, which is the centre of the British crown, and its virtue is courage. So what are they up to? And then if you look at green, which is vert, which is also upright, isn't it? Vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Heavenly body Venus, jewel is emerald, Emerald City, because Putin's just given Melania an emerald ring. in Alaska, because we discussed this by email, didn't we, Larry, about the scorpion and the sting in the tail?
Yeah, yeah. Which
And you said the mud fossil had got the scorpion wrong. Scorpion
got it the
wasn't
wrong way
Alaska.
round, yeah.
Scorpion was the wrong way round. And the virtue is love. So the House of Commons, the green seats signify love and Venusian energy. So that's feminine energy of the earth. Your
I
mother
have a
loves
belly
you.
button.
Mother Earth loves you.
I know. This is.
But your father's Saturn.
Yeah.
And the Lords are using their courage to protect you. This is a symbology of the House, well, the Houses of Parliament.
And it's kind of like then a bit like what Clive Edwards says, where you can only you're either governed by God or you're governed by man, which is like the Satan bit, like you've just said. Government, where they're all depicted as red, they're Satan's little puppets, aren't they? They're carrying out the agenda of this world.
Clive's mostly right. Clive's done some bloody excellent work. I would suggest he needs to enter the interdimensionality part of this, because I think he's a bit stuck on Earth. He's got two dimensions, like man and legal. Well, who's the king? King's in heaven. Christ is the king in heaven.
Wouldn't he say that he is the king as God? Like when you ask, you're asking as king.
He's a king of earth. Charles III is the king of earth. Well, Christ is the king of heaven. So Charles is not my king. Charles is the king of this, right? He is the civil servant that sees that when you work, your silver currency that shines from your golden aura is collected on paper or in a computer as it is now, and it's given back to you. So taxes are paid to the king. And who pays the king's taxes? The king of the earth pays the taxes to the king of heaven. So if you think about the House of Commons, all bills are sent for royal assent. Well, it goes up. Real, royal, realm, the real me, the realm, the royal, the realm, real, Real. Like Real Madrid is Real Madrid. That's why they play in white. White on your flag is argent. So the heraldry and the flag symbology is showing you what's going on. The map of the earth, as Larry's been pointing out, is a reflection of the map of heaven. That's how it's.
Isn't like the map of the moon also?
Your body is a map of your mind.
I would disagree with you on the moon and the earth bit. I think
fair enough.
That one I think is a bit misleading. It's when you look at the accuracy of what they've done here, it's the moon isn't accurate. It's only it's more coincidence than I don't see the plasma moon doesn't float my boat.
Fair enough. So you're not into Vibes of Cosmos view of it then?
No.
Fair enough.
And there's only one sun as well. These people, that says, oh, there's a white sun during the day, and then at the evening it goes red, and they've swapped the sun. And swapped it how? When? People looking at it all the time, and the whole geometry.
The only thing that always makes me question, and it's got nothing to do with like that, but people talk about localized sun, don't they? Well, I have seen, and you don't know whether it's real, but I have seen what looks to be like sun below the cloud. So it's being, say you're in a plane, and the sun's hotspot is below the cloud, so you're above the sun. Well, that's not 93 million.
No. You're not above the sun. You're basically the atmosphere is acting as a prism to a degree as well.
Effect on perspective.
Yeah,
so it's essentially a heat spot reflecting from the sun, making you focus. Think it is the sun.
Yeah, you get focus. The atmosphere focuses light and the heat as well. But if you think of dawn, when you look at, if you're actually there at sunrise or at sunset, the clouds above your head are illuminated from below. They can only do that if the sun is lower than the earth, which means that you're on, this curved plane and the sun is moving around.
If you think about my interdimensionality, the earth appears as a sphere from the heavens. The sun is in the heavens. So from the sun's perspective, the earth is a sphere and that works. But from our perspective, the earth's flat. It's a perspective, right? I'm not saying that it is or it isn't. But then you see, if you go a dimension above the heavens, the earth's a toroid.
Okay. Yep.
I don't even know what that is.
Like toroidal
donut.
Donut.
Okay.
Yeah, with a
Okay.
hole in the
Donut
middle.
shape. Yeah. But then you see, if you get into your prime knot series, which is further on from the Borromean rings, you can get toroidal shapes. So again, you're into geometries, and the geometries are interdimensional. So you can connect from the flat to the spherical to the toroidal to whatever comes after that. And then you get into interlinking toroids. And then you get into the flower of life, and it just keeps going. But that's how the Celtic cross comes in. So if you look at the Celtic cross, there's always a circle in the middle and there's a circle on the outside. Well, you're looking down one venturi and there's another venturi. So it's light traveling in and centering in to points.
So that's also like the Christ on the cross. The head of Christ is always in the middle of the cross, which is then the
which folds up to be a box.
It's the astrological representation of planet Earth is a circle with a cross through it.
Right. But if you think about this, Christ was crucified on the cross. Who stands at the crossroads? The devil stands at the crossroads, and the pineal gland stands at the crossroads between the hemispheres of the brain, right, and the mind above, right, and the body below. So the body below is the earth, right? The mind above is the heavens, yeah? And then you've got north, east, well, actually you've got south, west, east, and behind you is north. Devil stand behind me, right? The devil pours the light of Lucifer in through the South Pole. Like I say, you've got to rotate it. So if you think of the Gemini child of West Lancashire, its head is lying on its right side. Its epithalamus is like straight through the ears, if you like. Yeah. And the two eyes are at Seaforth, mouth at Speak, and the nose is the pier head, because you pay on the nose at the docks, don't you?
Right, yep.
Yeah, yeah. So if you look, there's a railway line from Pierhead to Preston, which is here. And there's a railway line from Wigan, which is basically where the Dragon Eye Cave is at up Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Southport, and they form a cross which meets at St. John's. So St. John's Church is in the cross. Were the railway lines? They took the curbs out at Bursker. They got rid of that, which was Bursker Junction. Now, the last station before you got to Southport was St. Luke's. Well, they closed St. Luke's and diverted the railway round past Meals Cop. St. Luke, the symbol of St. Luke is the bull. Well, the bull is also the Minotaur. Well, what's the major tor? Well, if the major toroidal field is the earth, the Minotaur is your mind. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we receive the light of God through the light of Lucifer onto our Mother Earth, then the Mother Earth is the toroidal field through the poles, of which the sun and the moon are the poles, and that's the rod of iron through the body of Earth, which is why we've got magnetism on Earth. And the same goes for your body with the chakra system. Because then if you get into Egyptian mythology, how many visible planets are there and how many invisible planets are there? Well, if you think you can't see the last planet, which is your crown chakra above your head, which is purple, and then if you understand that a rainbow is fully circular, then you've got another purple, and then you go right through blue, right to the top of the arch, which is red again, which is your Father in heaven, which is Reuben the Red, right? So the tribe of Reuben in the Bible, Reuben loses his birthright and it's given away, and it's given away to his brother Levi and Simeon. Levi, the Levites, are the priests, and they're the priests of Rome, and Simeon is the city of London.
Okay. Yeah.
So
You
if you
following,
consider
Chris?
it in those,
Trying.
Larry's getting it.
Yeah.
You go away and think about it.
You have to watch it back on rerun, Chris.
Many times.
Yeah.
Many times. No. It's all very interesting.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
It is
So,
bonkers.
so what Colin's also saying is that the pineal gland is then, if you think of the cross where Jesus was allegedly crucified, that's your pineal gland, and then the robbers are on the crosses either side, which are your eyes. So the eyes are robbing you by presenting you with a three-dimensional world.
Look at look up the sigil of Lucifer. I mean, if I've got a bit of paper, see if I can draw it from memory. You get.
Which one's the sigil of Lucifer? You have one. Paint Pictionary. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So where are we looking? There's your two eyes. There's your epithalamus. There's your pineal gland. So your pineal gland projects it all out. Your two eyes visualize it in as a flat image in the third dimension, putting it back to your epithalamus. Your epithalamus stands on the bridge.
Is that the thing that turns the image the other way around? Because we see things upside down, don't we? And then it hits the thing and we see it the other way around.
Yeah, but we're in an upside down world. Your world is upside down from the dimension you actually inhabit. Your soul is fourth dimensional, is the connection to the fifth dimension, which is where you actually are. And this is all the madness of heaven. Right? Now, if you look at there's a Google symbol, you'll see the sigil of Lucifer. And it's that triangle, but you see, it's usually, I can't remember which way up they draw it, but that's laid out in the streets of Rome as well. So when the Pope earlier this year, Bergoglio, who was Black Peter of Rome before he popped his clogs, he went round knocking on doors in Rome, and it made that pattern on the road plan of Rome. There's one for Larry to look at. He likes his maps.
Yeah. I know there's a Chiro in Cairo.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
But the Cairo symbol is just, if you look at
I've just got to go and let my cat out, bloody animal. Carry on.
We'll continue without him.
If you look at Greek letters, the rho looks like the English letter P, and you get right ascension. Yeah, in astrology. So the vertical axis going up to the heavens has the P on the top of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, but you've got the chi is your cardinal points as well.
Yeah.
Which
and the
then
rho is the ordinal points.
So yeah, so that puts, but it being the symbol of Saturn as well, it basically says that Saturn is above the North Pole. That's what the Chiro is. It's a map to Saturn.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying that's what it is.
I know you're not. I'm just explaining for the audience as well as much as anybody.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
And Chris.
Talking to somebody who knows stuff.
Yeah, no.
How's the cat, Chris?
Well, he's going to get wet, but yeah, he's out. Bloody thing.
Oh, blimey.
Right, I want to bring it up a little bit. What do you both make of these ID cards? Now, they had a petition going.
Yes, it's been
I did
cancelled.
sign it, even though I don't agree with petitions, but what the hell? I did it anyway. And they're still saying, no, we're doing it.
We're doing it anyway. Yeah, they're doing it anyway, because that's it. I did tell people a couple of days ago there is no point in actually signing a petition, because they've rejected 6 million signatures in the past, so they're not going to accept 2 million and go with it. No, because basically when people realise that the government aren't working for us and they are not answerable to us, which they allegedly are supposed to be, then that's when people will change. Only when it starts affecting people, then that's when it changes. So when you can't access your bank without a digital ID, you can't access the internet without a digital ID, you can't go to the shops without a digital ID, then people will complain.
Yeah, but will it be a little bit too late then? Won't that
Well,
be a case
this is
of
the problem.
it's bolted, it's gone?
Yeah, it's gone. You didn't see it coming. We tried to warn you, but we've been saying this. I mean, I've been saying this for at least the last 5 years. The digital ID, the 15-minute city. You can only go 5 miles from your front door. Great, I've got a mobile home, mate. Yeah, I'll go 5 miles and take my front door with me.
Absolutely. What do you make of it all then, Colin?
Petition's an interesting word because petition is to plead with the king. And this is how inverted they've got us by dragging us down into the third dimension, which is what I've been talking about this whole bloody podcast. You're petitioning the king. You, as a third dimensional object, or actually a two-dimensional object, are going to petition the king. No, we're fourth dimension. We give the orders, right? It's a representation of that, and that is a representation of my chakra system, right? That's what it is. Now, what's happened is, for better or worse, the internet, which I perceive as a reflection of human consciousness, has been built for us by the City of London and also the British Empire. Love it or hate it, I know it's spread an awful lot of death and misery around the earth, but birthing a new world is going to be painful. And we've had shit for thousands of years. Systems have been corrupted and abused, which is what we're going through, the final stages of the abuse and pain of the system. Well, what's the most painful part of developing a child? It's fun at first, isn't it? Next 9 months later, she's screaming her head off.
Until you get to those bloody shoulders. Right? Oh.
Anyway, right. So if when I work, somebody pays the king, who's the king? My Christ in my heaven will pay me my money. And I know it's the dead one, but Charlie Boy will see to it I get my money, right? Because that is a representation. That is a reflection of who and what I am. And it's the civil service that will do it.
Is it not your shackles?
Pardon?
The fiat currency, is it not your shackle? It's your shackle. Your time has been tokenized into this fiat currency that is worthless,
which is
and then they want it back off you to say you owe tax.
But anyway. But who's tax payable to? Tax is payable to the king on earth, or the king in heaven.
Absolutely.
Right. So who's king in heaven? My king in heaven, your king in heaven. So in a way, they're doing us a favor. But I think it's like everything. Look at the news inside out, upside down, and backwards.
Yeah.
Yesterday there was a stabbing in Manchester. Oh, they've killed some Jews. What are they trying to do, right? They're trying to get everybody fighting and everybody arguing, causing trouble.
This is just to help them bring in, this is why we need the digital IDs. This is why we need the digital ID.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll argue it every time. They wanted us to have trouble in London.
You tell me what's been identified, right? This body is my vessel. This vessel's registered at Crown in the name of the king. The king stands on the bridge of the vessel, right? The king's in heaven and he's captain, right? Which is my soul, controls this video. Right? You're laughing, but that's how it's working. It's layered. The world is a great big onion. They wrote a song about that.
Or you'll get the hollow earthers coming in now. All the different layers.
Are they like
the middle earth? Is that the same thing?
The needle, thread the needle, 666. The body of man, thread the needle. Threadneedle Street. What's on Threadneedle Street? The Bank of England.
Bank. Oh, Bank of England as well. Yeah.
Thread the needle. Thread the needle. Thread the needle.
Isn't that what the government's doing to us?
Yeah. Hand over fist.
Here's the Romans. Here's the moons. what does King Arthur have to do? He has to take the sword out the stone. There's a gladius, right? What do you keep a sword in?
Sheath. Was
Pardon?
it a sheath?
Scabbard.
Scabbard. That's the one. You want scabbard, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Latin word for scabbard.
Go on.
Vagina. Thread
Yeah.
the needle. Thread the needle. Thread the needle.
Is that really what that is, Latin? You wait until
Yeah.
my missus comes home. That's going to be an interesting
Yeah.
conversation.
Are you taking up sewing, Chris?
Oh dear.
Fork, sword, mutton shutters. Anyway. Look it up in one of those. Vagina. Scabbard. Where'd you park your sword? Right? That's it.
Why didn't Popeye's Willie ever get rusty?
Oh, go on then. You
Because
dipped
he
it in
always
olive
kept.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why Charles had a red end, wasn't it? Because he dipped it in dye. Although he never did he?
Hey, we're talking of dye. I mean, that's dyes stain, don't they? So you're back to heraldry, right? So heraldric stains are for those who've done dishonorable deeds. Yeah. So if you're looking at a coat of arms with brown or orange or dark red, that's a stain. It's not a colour. Now, if you watch Dune, right, all the mentats have stains on their lips, don't they?
I haven't actually watched it, but yeah.
Back in, brilliant. Watch the original, not the new one. It's crap. Right? Pint of De Vries. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. The will of God in my head, the Christ, set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of Sappho. Sappho's a bone disease, right? So you're back to calc, the rune, the root of the tree. Your body's rotten. That thoughts acquire speed. The lips acquire stains, heraldic, yeah? The stains become a warning. Look at the heraldry. Look at the flag. What's the flag of the vessel telling you? Empty vessels make no noise. Dead men do not speak, do they? Right? It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. I decide what this vessel does. You don't. Neither does the fucking government. The government, the mind control is me. I am the government.
Yep, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So
Anarchy.
Again, anarchy in the United Kingdom. That is what we're working towards. God bless the Queen. Fascist regime.
How would we, like, I know we talk it and we all say, oh yeah, like in an ideal world, this would be, but how would that actually work in practice? Like you said that you would live your life providing that you don't cause hindrance to other people. Well, that's why they invent things like planning permission, because someone's just ruined my mental space because they've just built a block of flats blocking my. So do you know what I mean? There's got to be some kind of structure, or
you're answerable
just go
to the
tits
people.
up?
You are answerable to your peers. You know, trial by jury.
Contract is the law of man. And the law of man is written on a piece of paper. That is a contract between me and whoever I give it to, right? And she's the dead one, but Charlie Boy and his administration has to guarantee it.
Yeah, but what are they going to give you?
Charlie Boy is the devil. Charlie Boy is playing the part of the devil. He stands at the crossroads.
Did they not bury him on the 24th of April 2024?
Well, possibly they did.
After I don't know about that.
Well, you see, the horses run through London with the blood stained. The white horse with the blood stain on was on the 24th of April 2024. So 24 is 6. 4, if you take the 4 from April and add it to the 2 from 20, is 6. And then 24 is 6. So it's 666. They ran the horses through, and it was basically, I believe, there was a surgeon called to the book house for a stabbing, and they said it was some minor oil, but I believe it was Kate found or got told that he was on the list, the Epstein list, And so she took the law into her own hands and basically plunged the dagger in. And then they both got rushed to hospital with cancer. Yeah. And it all.
But then behind you, you've got the king has got cancer. You've got your cancer as your crystalline ark with all the animals in it. That was announced a while ago. So the king has got cancer. That's the king of heaven has now got control over the landmass of Great Britain. That's what that news was about. The king has got cancer. Fucking damn right he has. It belongs to us, me, you, and everybody else. That's that. You've explained that in your work.
Yeah.
You can't see cancer. Dogs can smell it.
It's defined by the content. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We are the content.
That's interesting.
There's no covenant with God with the fish in the Bible.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
True.
So,
And we separate the sheep from the goats. Peter? Pardon?
St. Peter's the fish. He's Pisces, isn't he?
Yeah. He's the Piscean age Jupiter Zeus, the Jew Peter.
And of course, Jesus is Jesus. Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Zeus.
So so basically everything we keep going back to this, but religion is basically based upon the worship of the heavens, the stars, everything above. So you've got Jesus is the sun, is followed by the 12 disciples, which are the constellations of the zodiac. They go around, they follow him around, these 12 people. So in the Bible, we're told the people, and they're going around Israel. Israel is the heavens above. It's the firmament, if you want to, on that wording basis. But basically, Israel is the heavens. Colin's holding up the sign of.
That is the plough rotating around the North Pole.
Yeah, that's the wheel. So
you've got the wheel of heaven,
and then and then Jerusalem.
Because that one, because the Saturn is 12. That's 4 seasons. That's 12 months.
Yeah.
We should have 13, really, shouldn't we?
The sun sits at the centre of the round table. The round table
is Stonehenge, by the way.
Yeah, it's all the same shit.
Yeah.
Such a wordsmith.
Yeah.
He's been reading his Latin dictionary.
That as well. Goodness.
Yeah, pretty much. Listen, my head hurts. So I'm happy to call this one a podcast. It's been very entertaining. I have, as usual, I've just sat here listening, bewildered. But I hope everyone watching this has really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it, but I was still, I just can't take it in. I think I need.
Colin are going to have to confer a bit more, and
yes, we are.
Decide where else we're going to go.
Yeah, definitely.
We have to decide which path we're going to take now, and we'll come back. Yeah, I'm sure we can have another talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps maybe if we come back again, we could focus on one topic, and then we could just go to hell on that one topic. But thank you very much, both of you, for your time and your knowledge. And I look forward to the next time we're able to do it. But for now, everyone watching this, thank you for watching. Enjoy yourselves, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
See ya.